If you're looking to buy a new home or sell one or even upgrade to a more spacious apartment or villa, stay tuned to this PropTech special. We bring you some of the smartest PropTech solutions for you to make the experience of home buying and selling more informed, more transparent, hassle-free and virtual. The products we will decode today and tell you how best can you use them to your advantage: housing.com, zapkey.com, propertyscience.com and sadhvisrealty.com. Joining me on the show, Dhruv Agarwala, Group CEO of housing.com, and of course also Makan and PropTiger, Sameer Saran, Managing Partner, India Sadhvis International Realty. Both leaders represent very experienced real estate business, one of them of course global as well. Shubhankar Dongre, co-founder Zapkey, and Pankaj Kapoor, founder and managing director of Lysis Forers, join us as well. These two gentlemen have launched new PropTech valuation products very close to what internationally a Zillow has. So I'm very keen to understand how those products work. Let's get started. But Dhruva, I'm going to come to you first. Housing.com has been around for some time. Online marketplace for sellers and agents to list their properties. What all can a buyer and seller do on your platform, which is unique and different?
Sure. I think, Manisha, as you rightly observed, Housing.com is a marketplace which connects home seekers, folks who are looking to either rent or buy a home, with home sellers or landlords who want to rent their homes out. If you're a buyer of a property, you can expect to do search and discovery, which means figure out the property of your choice based on various features on the platform, which allows you to shortlist firstly cities, then neighborhoods, and then even specific properties on the back of various criteria that you have, which the platform allows you to input and then choose accordingly. Subsequently, it also helps you with price discovery. Our smart platform allows people to input prices only which are within what we have established as a market range for that property. So you can be rest assured that the price which you're looking at, whether it's for renting a home or buying a home, is within a very tight sort of range. Then beyond that, we also help you schedule site visits if you would like to, directly do it, or connect you with brokers or developers if you'd rather work with third parties. And then in addition to that, there are a lot of peripheral services as well. If you're renting a home, you could pay your rent online. You could do an online rental agreement. You could also look at packing and moving services. Whether you're buying or renting and moving, you could use those services. Then there's furniture rental and so on and so forth. So essentially, it's a platform where, as a buyer or a renter, you can get pretty much an end-to-end service, from the housing.com platform. Okay. If you're a seller of a property, that is a homeowner, you can list your property, get inquiries. You can also get property management services if you don't want to do stuff yourself, but have someone manage things for you, as well as, enhance the quality of your listings, create a good listing for you, and also help you with price discovery once again, which allows you to kind of put your property out for a price which, is within the market range. So essentially, it offers myriad services to both, sellers and landlords, as well as home seekers.
All right. So what I particularly liked about housing.com was that you even enable solar installations in homes. I think that's a very unique service. I don't know what the demand is in India, but it's a good step to take. I mean, looking at climate change and our commitment to renewables, I think that's a great one. And the other aspect which I really liked was you can actually get a digital rent agreement at 399 rupees, as low as that. Okay, let's move on to the next product. And of course, we'll come back to housing.com a little bit later in the conversation. Pankaj, Property Science. I mean, Lysis Forers has been giving primary data for 60 cities across the country for a very long time. But now you have a B2C, or a product for the consumer to actually log on and find out the valuations very, very scientifically. Give us the USP of the product and who should be using it?
one thing is we wanted to offer it for the 60 cities, not just meant for only 4 or 5 cities and things. And we wanted to take care of entire typology of house property. It's not limited to apartment, but independent houses and land plots. So we spent close to 10 years of researching, built in the regressions and scientific setting models based on the property prices behave of a specific urban center. It's a research product. And then we also realized that there's no one single data set which is really capable of answering the valuation of the property. So we integrated 3 data sets like a primary survey, which we carry out ourselves for 60 cities, which are over 20,000 projects. We have millions of the records in the secondary data, which is available from different public sources. Then we have got a registration data for 3 states. Combining together, then we built in the recommendation. Based on that, it finds out where the price is converging, because no matter of whatever database you take it, you would always find the noise in that. People will say in primary data builder gives the discount, so it may not be right price. Registration data has got cash check component, so it may not be a right price. Secondary data maybe have an inflated price. So we needed something where the price is converging, so that based on that we can take a call. Apart from that, one can find out the proper valuations of independent house, plot, or apartment. We integrated risk matrix also, price correction risk, which is integrating the rental yields. So not only the people finding the market value of the property, but they can assess that what is the productive value based on the prevailing rental yield in the market.
In fact, Pankaj, I'd like to come in here. That is one of the most interesting features that I found, that if your rental yield to your capital value of the apartment that you're going to buy is very low or sub 3%, then what property science does is it actually tells you that you're not likely to see a capital appreciation, and there is a downside risk to your property. So it's a fairly outstanding product in the sense that at least you get a sense of, are you buying expensive or are you buying very, very close to the market rate. And the other thing which is very interesting and exciting is bringing together what you said, Pankaj, of 3 primary and secondary data along with some land valuations as well. Very quickly tell me, when you say 60 cities, do you actually have all the data for 60 cities, or it's slowly getting built up?
I'm saying that so far we have the data for 60 cities, but having said that, with time, for each city, data will continue to be getting more and more thicker. So some of the cities, like a smaller city, tier 2, tier 3 cities, the volumes of transactions or the real estate transaction are limited, so the data is thin. But over a period of time, we will see our data becoming richer, and the valuation for those markets will really
let me go to Zapkey.com. Shubhankar, from being the kings of commercial real estate, now Zapkey is making quite a noise in the market. In fact, even media heads to Zapkey.com to see what are some of the most expensive secondary market sales which are happening in some of the top cities, especially Hyderabad. Some high value sales made a lot of noise. Give us the key usable features and how does it help buyers and sellers?
Yeah, Manisha, we started Zapkey a couple of years back actually as our first consumer foray. For the better part of the last decade, PropTech has been a pure B2B business, B2B company. The entire essence of Zapkey has been trust and transparency in real estate. So, we've mastered the art of procuring registration data at scale, and we used it in our B2B business. But now we decided it was time to bring that same service, that same advantage to the consumer market. So that's how we launched Zapkey a couple of years back as a pure registration data, comparables website, where you or I looking to buy or sell an apartment come to Zapkey and look at recent transactions, which gives you a lot more confidence in going ahead and doing a deal. Having said that, recently, Manisha, we are not stopping with Zapkey just with data. We're extending Zapkey into a zone where, what's happening with the used car space now, right? I mean, the used car space over the past decade has been organized by some pretty large startups in India, and we are attempting to do the exact same thing for the resale apartment space in India. because, the resale apartment space in general lacks trust and transparency. And we're trying to bind all of that together with Zapkey, where for consumers, both for buyers and sellers, we are bringing free of cost valuation reports based on registration data, free of cost home inspection reports, which tell you, what damages there are in a house, whether there's leakage, seepage. Given the new world we live in with COVID, we do 3D walkthroughs of resale space that we have. We do 3D renditions of how the home can look if you renovate and buy it through us. So basically what we're doing is we're bringing trust and transparency into a traditionally neglected market, which is the resale space, with a major focus on, our predominant essence, which is trust and transparency.
Okay. So if I am the seller, I can actually ask and contact the Zapkey team to come and do a virtual tour of the house and then list it on Zapkey. Is that what I can do?
Absolutely. And this is all free of cost, Manisha. Once you become a seller with Zapkey, we will not only do a valuation report. The valuation report sets the expectation, because a lot of resale deals take a lot of time to close because of haggling and, sort of negotiation between...
The secondary market is a lot more complicated than the primary market is. So trying to get transparency into just focusing on the secondary market, I think, is quite commendable there. Absolutely. All right. I'm going to come back to you, Sameer. So this is the domestic market that we've touched upon, but PropTech is at another level globally. I think India is catching up very soon and some of the products are already here. But virtual home buying globally during the pandemic, multi-million-dollar homes that Sotheby's represents, are those getting bought through virtual, virtual hosting of homes?
So Manisha, very good question. And, Sotheby's has been about the customer and for the customer. The focus has been to create one digital platform across all the 75 countries that we represent, to have everything available to the customer online. At the end of the day, real estate is a touch and feel asset class. So it is about bringing it to the person's home, bringing it into the person's home. So some of the things that have been discussed so far, we've been doing for a number of years internationally and also in India. So whether it is a virtual tour of the property where you can literally go and have a look outside the window, or you can walk through the property end to end, whether it's about virtual staging, we have proprietary technology around that too, where we've partnered up with people, and a concept of live streaming. Whereby, we basically have one sales agent that will walk through the entire property. And this is now working according to the new normal, which is very different. It's about the social distancing, but it's about giving the end user experience. So if your question is, have we been successful in selling multi-million-dollar homes abroad and locally? The answer is yes.
And virtually. That's the most important part.
And virtually.
And I'm looking at some statistics and impressive. The January to March 2021 quarter actually saw a 63% increase in page views year on year. In fact, that's global, and India ranked just second to US when it came to searching properties globally. So that's another very interesting point, that Indians are extremely tech savvy. They're not looking for homes online just in India, but also globally. In fact, a housing.com PropTech report 2021 says that 37% of potential home buyers are ready to buy a home completely online or close the deal after just one site visit to the property. Will this number accelerate and only grow post-pandemic in the new world that we are living in? We'll come back and discuss that. You're watching a PropTech special on the Property Show, and we've highlighted how, from virtual reality videos to scientific data-driven valuation reports and even rent agreements, you can use PropTech to make much better home buying and selling decisions. And of course, as we said, that the pandemic has pushed people into virtual home buying much more than ever before. The sector, PropTech, has attracted over $2 billion from investors in the last 5 years in India. So the housing.com report says 37% of potential home buyers are ready to buy a home completely online with just one site visit. I'm going to throw a very big question. Are we going to reach a time when we never have to visit, or do you think that the touch and feel of the business will require at least one visit?
I think that's a great question, Manisha. I think the biggest advantage which sort of the PropTech sector has benefited from or taken essentially post the pandemic is that there's been a forced digital adoption, in this sector. I think everybody last year was forced to use a digital medium for whether it was education, healthcare, grocery, whatever it was. And that also sort of, benefited, our sector as a whole. We saw audience on our platforms literally, more than double in a 12-month period. Now, what I always believe is that, buying a home, unless you're an investor, but if you're an end user, this is the most expensive purchase decision of your life and a decision you make at best once or twice in your lifetime. So I think you will definitely want to visit a property at least once, before you buy. But what I think, PropTech enables, it enables you to, in a very, systematic and very scientific manner, shortlist properties by doing all the good stuff, which, many of the panelists spoke about in terms of walkthroughs, price discovery, 3D renderings, et cetera, live streaming, which,
Right.
which Samir spoke about, even housing does that. So you really shortlist and you just basically then need to go and visit one or two properties before making a decision.
Right.
So I wouldn't advocate end users to buy a home without visiting at least once. You must do that. If you're an investor, I think it's very real that you can make the property purchase decision completely online.
Samir, you would agree that you can do the short listing, but you have to actually visit the final properties before buying.
So we've been extremely successful. I mean, because we get a lot of global traffic coming in, we get 37 million users coming in here. We get 13 million, video playbacks. We get 90,000 hours consumed. And all the stuff that's been discussed today around live streaming, etc., has positioned us to enable a sale to happen online and virtually. And we've been very successful at doing that internationally as well, where people are buying a second home perhaps, but they take comfort in knowing as a brand we're representing the correct developer, and we provide everything else there is from a touch and feel perspective, whether it is a sales agent on the ground walking through, showing them access into the building, the locality, everything end to end. So whilst it's been said that it's good to have, and I said starting with that, real estate is a touch and feel asset class, but we've been quite good at being able to transact now virtually. Wow. Where we've sold properties overseas and even domestically.
These are absolutely high-end properties, I mean, in multi-million dollars. And the entire transaction has happened virtually. Okay, Shubhankar, are there cities within India, are there, age groups which are adopting to online real estate transactions better than the others? What's been your experience?
I mean, Manisha, our experience is limited to the cities that we focus on. So we focus on, the top 8 markets in India, the obvious ones, Mumbai, Pune, Bangalore, Chennai, Hyderabad, NCR. And I think, there is a standard. I mean, the range is pretty large, and we are talking about, a pretty broad range from age, say, 25 onwards all the way to the age 50, because this is your prime sort of home buying age group. At 25, you start aspiring, you start making plans. At probably around 50, you are probably in a position to start thinking about a second home. So, that's the kind of demographic generally that we're seeing. And, what we are able to observe, Manisha, is that we are able to engage this home buying aspirant group with the data that we have on Zapkey. People come to look at recent transactions. We know what buildings people are interested in. The reason people are paying to just look at data means they are very serious. They were thinking about buying a home. So, this is a group that has qualified beyond just browsing and are actually thinking very seriously about buying a home.
Okay, Shubhankar, let me ask you, what is the next frontier in PropTech now? Something that's happening globally, but in India, we have still not done.
I think you already mentioned that, Manisha, to be very frank, a zero site visit home purchase. And I'll give you a very interesting example. This is what I was thinking when you were talking about this with Dhruv and Samir a couple of minutes back. I'm sure everybody has heard of Open Door in the US, which is the model is called the iBuyer model, where, because of structures that are only possible in the US. Open Door is actually able to buy homes directly from sellers, which is not necessarily the easiest thing in India. But what Open Door does is it gives you a guarantee. It says, you know what, you buy a home from me, and if you don't like it in 30 days, I'll take it back from you.
Wow.
That kind of promise makes it a little bit possible to say, hey, listen, you know what, I just buy it digitally. I don't want to visit the home. If I don't like it, I'll give it back to Open Door, right? Easier said than done. You got to move your entire household and yada, yada. But, such kind of models make a lot of things possible. And, I dream of being able to crack a structure in India where, as a company, I would be able to buy homes directly from the consumer, bringing about a sea change in creating liquidity in the property market in India, which currently still, I think, is not at its optimum.
At its best. Okay, let me get a quick reaction from Pankaj. Pankaj, next frontier of PropTech according to you? I have only 20 seconds.
I think the risk rating, I'm saying that all we have listened from other speakers also to see that buyer needs assurances, like if I am able to assure him that the property is purchasing is hassle-free, the neighborhood profile is fine. So third-party approval is what is needed, and the digital framework can allow the property transaction to go completely online. I'm saying that the risk rating, independent advisory available through the digital tech to reassure that the property decision they are taking are correct, and they can look at the price correction risk, execution risk, legal title risk, and all those kind of things. So I see that risk sides which allows or gives the assurance and removes the dissonance in the minds of the consumer is the one area where we would like to really move more,
I mean, you're
digital.
saying that if we can get that in, then probably just like globally, multi-million-dollar deals are happening virtually, we can make them possible in India as well. We've run out of time,
Absolutely.
But very interesting conversation. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me. PropTech is exciting. I hope one day we'll be able to do virtual home buying with that much of trust in data and, of course, transparency. To all of you, thank you so much for joining me, and goodbye.